Blessings, blessings, blessings. How's everybody doing today? I do not own the rights to this music. This is Pastor Tim Rogers, Made for Me. Can I ask y'all to like and share? Like and share. Okay, I want to welcome y'all to Deliver Me From Me. My name is Apostle AleciaBiggers, where we meet on this station every Tuesday and every Thursday at 6:15 Eastern Standard Time. And so for the month of December, we're talking about the gift of giving, and we're talking about giving better relationships, giving healthier relationships. So many times we just automatically assume that we know how to relate to one another when we really have to be taught if we're going to have good and healthy relationships. And so we're going to continue on with part 2, talking about relationship talk, but we're talking about knowing the difference between tight versus kind. What do I mean kind? I'm talking about your type, talking about your type versus God kind of relationships. Your type versus God kind of relationships. Because when we're talking about your type, I got some signs to let you know what I mean when I'm talking about your type. Your type is about what you want, what's appeasing to your flesh, what you like. Some of the signs let you know about what your type is. You get your type from your upbringing. You get your type from the people you hang around, the television you watch. Your type is around familiar things, familiar people that are around you. It's where an image has been put in your mind and you begin to like what's familiar to you. Your type is what's pleasing to your eyes, what's pleasing to your flesh. What's another thing about a type? Your type robs you of your peace. What I mean, you can have a type in an intimate relationship. You can have that type of family member, that type of friend. This is where these are people who are toxic, people who are familiar with you, where they keep you in your flesh. This is where people are childish, they insecure, they play mind games. These are people who are at a broken state. What I mean broken? What I mean that they're broken in their soul. They're broken in their mind. They've been hurt. They've been wounded. They have not been healed. And so you getting a person that's ratchet. You getting a person that's hateful. You getting a person that's hurt, wounded, depressed, hopeless. That's that type. And so many times when we'll get accustomed to that type because that's all the kind of people we've been around. Well, mama and daddy is that type. Our friends are that type. People that we go to church with is that type. People that we work with is that type. And so when you're working with a broken people that don't care, they're selfish, they're hateful, they're unforgiving. It's all about them. They don't care about nobody else, but they are stuck on themselves. They stuck in the hurt, they stuck in the past, and they stuck in past trauma. These are people that are always talking about what they going through. They only see through their eyes, and it's where you are being tolerated. This is where you just don't mean a lot to that person. You just somebody that's familiar, that they keep you around because you're a good listener, or you do what they want you to do. The things is about your type. These are people who are stuck, got unforgiveness in their heart. They still mad about stuff that don't happen 5 years ago. They still mad about what somebody did last year, and they still talking about it, and they hold grudges. These are people who are toxic. They like fussing. They like to be messy. They like to murmur. They like to complain. Can I tell you, these are the people, they will take your happiness. They need for you to keep on pouring into them. And so it's sucking away your life because you too busy trying to please them. You too busy trying to coach them. You too busy trying to encourage them. And they never have anything for you. We talking about your type right now because we got to understand there is a difference between your type versus the God kind ordained relationships that God got for you. I was just talking about on the Deliver Me nugget that I just shared, how so many times that God, everything that God made was good. And so when you find yourself in a relationship and you know what, you don't see anything good, you are not prospering, you're not growing, you're not being challenged. You got to begin to check that relationship. Sometimes we can be in families, and guess what? The family is not making you grow. The family is not helping you want to do better. The family is not pushing you. But so many times when you will find yourself in a place where people just let you do whatever, they don't care about what you do, where you at. They just watching you, just your life just pass along, and you ain't doing nothing with your life. They fine with it. That's a type kind of people, and you got to begin to understand what it looks like to have a type, because you're dealing with a people that's so broken. They're only trying to please they temporary. They can't see themselves in the future. They can't see themselves a year from now. They can't see themselves 6 years from now. These are people who are always stuck with the now, trying to please their flesh. These are people, they will not be put aside. They want everything to go their way. Hanging around a person who is your type, they will change your destiny. They will change your life. With this type of person, keep fooling around with them, you'll find yourself, they will waste your life. They'll waste your time. You've been in a relationship with them for 5 years. You have not accomplished nothing. You have not graduated. You don't have a good job. You keep going from place to place. You insecure. You're dealing with low self-esteem. You just in a bad shape. When you're around a type kind of person, they're going to keep you where there's no personal growth in your life. The only thing that you'll probably keep looking at is just trying to make it from now. That they don't see future wise. This is a person that abhors the things of God. They hate the things of God. Oh, I don't believe you got to read your Bible. I don't believe you got to fast. I don't believe you got to go to church. This is the type of person, they are their own God. They make their own rules. And so you got to understand, if you're going to get in God-ordained relationships, you got to know the difference between what's your type, because the type is what you feel comfortable with. Now let's talk about your kind. The kind of relationships is, when I mean a God kind of relationship, because these are the relationships that God has put in your life. These are people that God has put in your life that's going to challenge you, that's going to challenge you to come up. Can I tell you, being in these kind of relationships, it may make you feel uncomfortable. It may make you feel a little vulnerable. Why? Because you're not used to anybody challenging you. You're not used to anybody encouraging you to go. Won't you go back to school? Won't you go move over here? Won't you go and apply for that job? Won't you start your own business? This is the type of person that's going to push you to go beyond where you at. This is the person that will not let you stay comfortable right where you at. This is a person that's going to always tell you to read, telling you to go exercise, telling you to go get some counseling, telling you to educate yourself. Why? Because they are made after God. This is a person that the more that they learn, they're becoming better in their life. And guess what? They want things to become better in your life. You ought to want to be around people that want things to be better in your life. You ought to want to be around somebody that's looking at your life and say, come on now, it's time for you to grow. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to let that go. It's time for you to forgive them. And it's time for you to move on. You got to begin to understand when you got a God-kind relationship, these are relationships are going to be productive. They're going to push you to have success. These are the people that are mature. Can I tell you, they will listen to you. They will respect you. They spend time with you. And these are people that will, if they see you, you got a weak area, they're going to do what they can to help push you to grow. These are people, they are productive people. And you got to begin to understand that God wants you in productive relationships. So many times we are in relationships that are not productive. Just because they got a lot of money, just because they got a house and a car does not mean that they're productive. You got to begin to ask yourself, are you productive? Yes, you may be connected with them, but what's in your life is growing. Are you becoming better even mentally? Are you coming better socially? Are you coming better physically? Are you coming a better person spiritually? When you do not see yourself increasing, you don't see yourself growing, you got to begin to understand you're in the wrong kind of relationship. This is where a person who's a God kind, they are good for you because they are genuinely good people, because they're becoming. It's not because, I'm not saying that they don't have no faults, but what I'm saying is this person is always working on themselves. This person is always reading. This person is always educating themselves because they understand this thing we call life. You got to become a child of God. You're just not an automatic child of God just because you go to church. You got to become it. And so when you are becoming a child of God, when you're becoming in a God kind of relationship, you're always doing something. So, and also this person right here, they want to make you better. They want to make you better. This person will spend time with you and they will listen to you. They will listen and they will begin to give you back what you said and stuff that needs to be said to you. Guess what? They're going to tell you the truth. So many times people don't like to hear the truth. They would deal with they would deal with a type, because a type will tell you what you want to hear, but a God ordained person would tell you the truth, whether or not you like it or not. And see, that's why I say sometimes it would make you uncomfortable, because this is a person, they genuinely care about you and they're going to tell you the truth. The Bible say the truth shall make you free. We got to get to a place that we start wanting and desiring the truth, even though it may not feel good, even though we may not like it, but you got to begin to understand if your life is going to get better, if you want to be delivered, you got to be willing to handle the truth. You got to understand God wants us to be people that we got to have tough skin. We got to make the necessary changes that we need to make so that we can be relational. So many times, this is why our relationships are failing, because we're putting all our energy and effort in the wrong type, and we're bypassing the God kind because you trying to make somebody who's a type, you trying to invest in them when they don't want to do better. You trying to invest in them when they are comfortable. But you got to understand, a person that's a God ordained relationship, they are not comfortable. They are always trying to do their best. They are always trying to become better. This is a person that they communicate with you. They see something wrong, they're going to talk to you. They're going to ask you what's wrong. They are good listeners. These are skills that we got to learn. If you're going to be in a God-ordained relationship, you got to know how to communicate. You can't assume nobody know what you're talking about. You can't just assume. You got to be willing to talk about those difficult conversations. You got to be willing to express yourself, understanding that if this person cares about you, you should be able to say how you feel, as long as you're saying it with love. This person right here, this person would give you peace. Being around them, you feel so much peace. There's no hostility, versus being around the kind of person. This is person you're going to constantly be arguing. You're going to be constantly fussing. It's going to always be toxicity. The type person will call you out of your name. But when you're dealing with a God ordained person, this this person is going to build you up. This person is not going to tear you down. And so we got to get to a place that you know how to recognize the difference. This person here, the God or ordained person, they're not familiar with the norm. This person is always, I told you, they always with excelling. You're going to catch this person at their authentic self. You're going to realize people would just dislike the God ordained person. Why? Because they don't put up with people mess. They know how to walk away. They will walk away from relationships that are not productive. They're going to walk away from relationships that don't mean them any good. So therefore, people don't like these kind of relationships because most people, they want you to take their abuse. They want you to take their chaos. And so you got to know how to know the difference between what's your type and what's your God ordained relationship, because so many times we get caught up in our feelings, we get caught up in our emotions. Can I tell you another thing about a God ordained relationship? This is the type of person, they will submit to God. What do I mean? They want to please God. They want to treat you right. They want to love you right. They want to help you. They want to support. This is a person, again, they're not perfect, but they are learning. And so the Bible says when you know better, you do better. So this is a person that's trying to do their best because they want to be in a good relationship with you, and they don't want to let nothing come between you two. And so this is why, whether or not this is a family member, whether or not this is a spouse, whether or not this is an intimate relationship, whether or not it's a church member, co-worker, whatever it may be, this is a person that's going to respect the relationship. And so when you have people that do not respect the relationship, you got to automatically understand these people did not come from God. Can I tell you, these people, when you're dealing with a God-ordained relationship, these are the type of people that they have sympathy for you. Do you not understand? They care about what you care about. They're not going to sit there and watch you suffer. You got so many narcissistic people. They will see you suffering. They'll see you crying. They'll see you going through, and it won't bother them. These will be people that tell you that they're going to help you. They love you. They want the best for you, and they'll watch you drown. They'll watch you suffer, because we're dealing with a narcissistic people that don't care what it's always about them, and they want somebody that's going to care, pour into what they need, and they can care less about what you need. You can tell them, I want to talk, not right now, but then they tell you that they want to talk. They want you to listen to what they're saying. They want you to pour into them, but when it's your turn, not right now, we'll get to you. And you, every time you look around like, wait, when am I going to get an opportunity? Because this is the type of person that you're dealing with. You got to be able to understand. Can I tell you, narcissistic people, they are used to people who are broken. They are used to people who would take their abuse so many times, because they understand when you are so caring and they know that you want to help. They know you want to see the best in people. And guess what? They'll just pull you along because they need some fuel. They need some people that they can tear down their self-esteem. They know some people that's dealing with insecurity, low self-esteem. And guess what? They'll keep you on the roller coaster. They'll pull you in, buy you stuff. Next thing you know, they tear you down. They'll pull you in and buy you stuff that you like, take you out to eat. Next thing you know, they tear you down. And you got to begin to know these cycles when you're dealing with. So can I tell you, some of these narcissistic tendencies can be your parents. They can be your spouses. They can be your children. They can be co-workers. They can be church members. These are people that they need that fuel. And so this is why you got to know how to reevaluate your relationships and stop assuming that every person that come into your life has been God sent. This is where you got to ask God, God, who sent them? Did you send this person into my life? Because when you see that your life is not getting better with this person, you got to question, why is this person in your life? Because when you don't see things getting better, that's an indication that, you know what, God did not send them. So many times we're tolerating people that God never told you their season was over, but you keep pulling back. I ain't heard from them. Let me call them. God's trying to cut off some things, but because you so familiar with them, God's saying that you got to understand, why are you carrying dead weight? Why are you in a relationship where you doing all the pulling? Why are you in a relationship where it's all about them? And here it is, it's never about you. You got to begin to understand you're dealing with toxic people, and you got to know the difference between tight versus kind. Where did you get this kind from, Apostle? I'm glad you asked. Let's turn your Bibles to Genesis 1. When you look at Genesis 1, let's look at verse 11. when you look at verse 11, I'm going to show you the patterns of God. It said, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the tree fruit that yields fruit according to its kind, which seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed which in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So this showing you that even when God made fruit, when God made the grass, that's why we want to eat vegetables and fruits that got seeds in it. Why? Because it can keep producing. When you're eating grapes that does not have seeds in it, guess what? They cannot produce. So when you got watermelons, when you got oranges, you got fruit and vegetables with seeds in it, you can produce according to them seeds, according to its kind. And so you got to understand that God is a God of patterns, that when he got children, he don't want to just, hey, I got children that just go to church. I got children that just got a cross on their neck saying, what would you do? Or I got children that say, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But no, when God got children according to his kind, guess what? They got the character of God. They got the integrity of God. They got the image of God. They got the likeness of God. When you are dealing with these kind of people, they are according to the God kind of class. These are people that are constantly making their life over. They used to be a prostitute, but they're a child of God. They used to be a lesbian, but they're a child of God. They used to be a drunk, but they're a child of God. They used to be a whoremonger, but they're a child of God. And guess what? The characteristics, all of God's children, they look alike because they bear fruit according to his kind. But then we're dealing with a generation of people that don't have no fruit. Oh, I just go to church. Oh, I read my Bible, but their life does not look according to the kind of God. And so you got to understand, if you're going to be a child of God, you got to know how to relate to God. You got to know how to look like God. You got to know how to talk like God. I want you to go down to verse 21. It says, so God created great sea creatures. We're talking about Genesis 1, verse 21. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, which the waters abounded according to their kind, and winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters in the sea and let the birds multiply on the earth. You got to understand, even when God created birds, when God created creatures, he produced according to his kind. Let's jump down to verse 26. It said, and God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created male and female. He created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over every living creeping thing that moves on the earth. So God said, I made my children in his image, in his likeness, and he said, I want you to multiply according to my kind. God was telling us that we got to produce just like how he produced. It's not you just doing your own thing. When God put us on earth, he put us on earth to look like him, to talk like him, to act like him, and to multiply like him. This is why we got to make sure that our mind is right. This is why we got to make sure that our mind is on the God kind of relationships. Because if you're in the God type of relationship, if you're in the if you're in the type of relationships, you're going to find yourself being broke, busted, and disgusted, always hurt, always going through. Because why? Because you're still stuck in the wrong type of relationship. This is where God will put you by yourself, because God is trying to get you to look at your life and telling you you're not producing according to my kind. God is trying to let you know you still with the wrong type. So many times you got to understand one thing about God. God will let you stay in a situation until you recognize that you're in the wrong type of relationship, and he'll show you. He wants you to study to get the God kind of relationships. How do I study the God kind of relationship? Getting in my word, getting back closer to God. God, I need you to reveal to me, what am I doing wrong? God, did you send this person in my life? God, did you put us together? God, did you put me on this job? God, did you tell me to go back to this place here? Did you tell me to go back to this friendship? We need to go back to start asking God, did he ordain that relationship? Did he ordain that church? Did he ordain that job? Because so many times you wonder why you dealing with what you're dealing with. It's because you with something that God did not ordain. We just assume that God is going to bless everything. That's not true. God blesses those things that he put together. That's why the scriptures say, what God put together, let no man or let no man or woman put asunder. So when God put a relationship together, guess what? Can't no devil in hell separate them. Why? Because God put them together. Whatever that God put together, they got the grace and they got the anointing to subdue it. This is why he said, I gave you, you are my children. You ought to walk in my anointing. You ought to walk in my character, and you ought to subdue whatever that comes at you. When we are not subduing things, subduing means that he said rule and reign. That's why we got to make sure that our thoughts are together. Because if your mind ain't together, guess what you're going to do? You're going to be stuck according to what you were brought up looking at, what your friends told you about. But when you start getting the God ordained, you got to say, wait a minute, I got to get myself together first before I get connected with anybody else. I got to make sure that I get my mind right to know what I need, what's good for me and what's not good for me. Because when you don't know what's good for me, well, I want her. He may not be good, but I want him. She may not be good for me, but I want her. See, that's an indication that you still sick in your mind. Because the simple fact you want somebody that don't want good for you, the simple fact that you want somebody that's abusive, the simple fact that you want somebody that's toxic, that lets you know that something is wrong with you. The Bible say that you know what, that when we are not healed and delivered, he said that our mind is deceitfully and desperately wicked. So therefore that tells us that we need a relationship with God if we're going to have successful relationships. Can I tell you, you got to have a relationship with God if you're going to have a successful God ordained relationship. I don't know about you, but I want a relationship where my relationship gonna bring goodness, where my relationship gonna make the best part of me come out, and I'm gonna make the best of that person come out. You got to understand, when you are in that God ordained relationship, it's gonna make the best come out of that person. And this is where you can be yourself. You don't have to try to be nobody else. You don't have to try to be a people pleaser. You don't have to try to do whatever that's gonna make them happy. You just be yourself, and guess what? That person is going to be happy with you because they love you for you. And that's when you know that it's God ordained. Let's look at Genesis 2. When you look at Genesis 2, let's look at verse 15. This is where it talks about how when God, see, I'm showing you about how God began to produce his kind, how he began to make his kind. This is when he began to make Adam. He said, then God said, it says here, then God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. So it's telling you that even when you are the God ordained, God began to tell Adam, this is what you're going to do. You're going to keep the garden. You're going to maintain the garden. Don't you eat from this tree. So in other words, God began to first deal with us as a human being. That's why we're talking about deliver me from me. The first person that you got to work on before you get in a relationship is you. That's why God worked on Adam first. He began to give Adam a job for himself. He began to teach Adam how to love himself. He began to help Adam to be focused. Adam was not, oh, I need a woman. I need a woman. I need a woman so I can make it. I need a woman so my life can be better. No, Adam had a life. He was happy by himself. We got to understand, if you're going to be at a place where you're walking as a God kind, you got to know how to be happy with yourself. This is why if you are single, God got you by yourself, because it's some things that he want to do in your life. It's some things where he want to deal with. He want to heal you of your hurt. He want to heal you of the self-hatred, the low self-esteem, whatever that has caused you to be hurt, wounded. God want to heal you first before he put you in a relationship, because he want to let you know that you're loved. He want to let you know that you are valuable. He want to give you confidence. He want to give you assurance so that you can already be doing what you know to do. When you are a single person, you got to understand we got assignments that we supposed to be doing. Do you supposed to be opening up your own business? Did God tell you to go get your own house? God tell you to go back to school? Whatever the case may be, there's some things that you're supposed to be doing while you are single. But our culture tell us, oh, you need a man. Oh, you need a wife first. And then, no. You got to understand, Adam was by himself and God gave him instructions. So this is why we got to repent for looking for somebody else to make us happy, looking for somebody to take care of us. No, you ought to want to be the type of person that you know how to take care of yourself. You ought to want to be the type of person, hey, so when you come to the relationship, hey, I got my own savings. Hey, I got my own house. Hey, I got my own car. Hey, I'm going to school. Well, you got something to add to the relationship. You ain't coming being no burden. Can you take care of me? Can you get my hair done? Can you get my feet done? Listen, all that is fine, but I ain't looking for you to come rescue me. I'm looking for you. If you want to be a blessing to me, you can bless me, but I ain't looking for you to come and take care of me as if I ain't been doing nothing with my life. You got to understand God wants you to be productive. And so many times when people are not productive in their life, that's an indication that they still stuck in their wrong type, because they looking for somebody to fulfill them. They looking for somebody to make them better. And you got to know that that is not of God. God is not looking that. He does not create us for another person to make us have purpose. You're supposed to have purpose by yourself. And that's why I said when you look at Genesis 15, God gave Adam purpose. God gave Adam purpose. And so when God gave Adam purpose, Adam already knew what he had to do. And so look when we go down to verse 18, and it said, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet comparable to him. Out of the ground, the Lord formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to Adam. You got to understand the first thing that God gave him was a helpmeet. Why? Because God said the task that I helped him do, what he's doing, she's going to be a helper. She don't mind. Yes, she know what to do herself, but she's going to help him. So guess what? So when you're in a relationship, God is calling you to help that person to fulfill their assignment, help that person to make their vision bigger, to make their plans bigger. It's because the two are working together. The two, not one. Do what I tell you to do. No. They're working together. They are partners. They are life partners. We got to begin to understand, and we got to know how to relate to people and relate to our relationships. That it's not just for y'all to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and y'all just, we went to the movie, we had something to eat, and you have not fulfilled no vision. No, what is the vision that God has given that man? What is the vision that God has put you as a woman in his life to help him to fulfill that vision and to make it bigger, to help push him, to help make him be who God called him to be? Because as women, we're called to be helpmeets. This is why God put us in a relationship. He said, because this man needs help with the vision that I have given him. See, this is why you got to understand the man knows his vision. He knows what he's supposed to be doing, and he's looking for somebody who's like him. This is a person that's comparable to him. This is not a person that's going to fight him. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. No. You're the wrong person. This is where the two work together. The two are hand in hand. This is where the two can just be themselves, and they're like, I just love you. And he said, I just love you. It's because you make the best come out of him. And he's like, when you come and help me, oh, things become a lot easier. Oh, she said, I love to help you because you know it's just easy. It feels like me and you, like I was supposed to be connected with you. So many times that's it. The relationships work together. When you find yourself in a relationship and y'all don't have no vision, you want to check the relationship. That means you may still be caught up in your type. Because God ordained relationship, it's a vision. It's a reason why God is putting the two together. And so when you dealing with a people looking at the world, oh, he fine and she fine, baby, that ain't no vision for. No, that means you put that person together. You can put him together with you, or he put himself with you, and then you wonder why he cheating on you. You wonder why she cheating on you. Why you having all these kind of problems? Because you still stuck in your type. Because you have not got healed so that God can show you your kind. Because when you get healed, God begin to show you your kind. Can I tell you, when you get healed, God will show you what you used to like. He'll show you The reason why it didn't work, because that ain't the right one for you. God will show you your kind. It'll be somebody totally opposite from what you would look like. So if you say, well, I just like them dark skinned, well, guess what? They may be light skinned. I can't stand no light skinned person. They may be light skinned. You may say, well, I like them light skinned, and that person gonna be dark skinned, and it's gonna be totally different from what you want, because God knows the kind that he got for you. Everything that God makes is a kind. You got to understand, and it's good for you. And this is where you got to say, God, I trust you. This is where you got to be willing to work on yourself, get healed and delivered, because can you know, your kind may be in front of you. Your kind may be in front of you, but you just can't recognize them because you're too busy looking at your type. I like a thug person. I like a woman that look holy. I like mine thick and she may be skinny. I like mine skinny and she may be big. I like my man muscular. He may be skinny. I like my man skinny. He may be thick. You got to begin to understand, according to what God got for you, he has a kind that's good for you, because it's not based on just what you see with your eyes. It's because how that person is on the inside, because on the inside they got what you need. On the inside, y'all two work together, and because you keep cutting them off and they want to open up the door for you, I don't like no man like that. Here it is, the man you with, he ain't trying to open up the door for you. He ain't trying to do that for you, but that's who you like. But this person over here, your next door neighbor, he want to run out and open up the door for you. He want to ask you, can he take your take your trash out? He want to ask you, can he wash your car? I don't know why he like that, because you can't tell your kind. God got a kind that want to treat you right. Fellas, God got a kind. Well, I just like her because she fine as wine. This lady over here, hey, I got an extra meal. Man, she just got 2 children. I don't want nobody with no children. She may have 2 children, but she got what you need. She got your plate ready. She's sitting up here saying, you know what? I got some extra food. Do you want some? Did you have a chance to cook? I got some extra. I got something for you. Hey, I baked a cake. I heard you say this. Do you like this? But then this lady over here who you like, she ain't baked you nothing. Hey, I want my nails on. You gonna give my money or not? She ain't thinking about what you say. She ain't listening to what you saying. But this lady over here who you go to work with, she's sitting up here listening to what you're saying, bringing to you what you're saying, trying to make it happen, but you can't see it because you're too busy looking at your type. This is where God is saying, wait a minute. God said you got to look at what he got for you, because what he got for you, sometimes we are missing it. You know what? And I was looking at somebody on TikTok, and the lady was talking about how she was talking about how sometimes as women, we were telling, I'm waiting on my Boaz. I'm waiting on my Boaz. Ladies, can I tell you, sometimes your Boaz may be an older person. It may be somebody who older than you. You may say, well, you know what? 3 years is my limit. You know what? You may have to go up 5 years. You may have to go up 10 years. Boaz was older than Ruth. And that was the person that God had for her. So many times you're overlooking because you're looking for somebody your age to do what it is that God has put in your heart to say that your husband gonna do. But then you looking at these young people your age and they ain't nowhere near. He said, because I got a Boaz for you. I got somebody who's older for you. I got somebody. And so therefore you got to say, God, open up my eyes and help. And you begin to pray. I need my Boaz. I need my husband to come find me, because the Bible say in Proverbs, he said, when a man finds a wife, he obtains favor from the Lord. So you got to understand, he's got to find you. So you got to change your prayer. God, I thank you for my husband finding me. God, I thank you that my husband and my purpose and our purposes are aligning together, that when he see me, you got to remember when Abraham sent his servant to go find Isaac a wife, the servant went looking. You got to understand, the man got to look for you. He got to find you, and you got to make sure that you're ready, so that when he coming, that you're good, that you can recognize him, and that when he's smiling at you, you're like, hey, what you looking at me for? This is why you got to make sure you're working on yourself, so that you won't be looking mean mugging. Why he looking at me? Why he smiling? He looking at you because he's saying you my good thing, but because you mean mugging, you like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you know I'm going to take my baseball bat. You keep looking at me the way you looking at me. I'm saying that because I used to be looking mean. I'm like, this the way I look. And you just never know who God will be sitting at you. But you want to know, you want to prepare yourself for your kind, even for friends. So many times you so used to friends this way, and God will begin to heal you. And God will say, you know what? These next friends that I got with you, they're not going to use you. They're not going to be the people that you always pour into, but they're going to pour into you. You will begin to see, and you will have a different type of friend. You may be having friends your age. God may got some older people, some more mature people, some more seasoned people in your life, and not people your age. See, this is where you got to begin to open up your eyes, because as God begin to teach you how to relate, everything is not going to be feasible to you. So many times, well, I just wish my mom would know how to treat me right. I wish my dad would know how to treat me right. My mom is so demonic. My dad is so this. And you got to understand, like I tell the people at church, sometimes your parent, not always the case, sometimes God just needed your parents to get you here, and God will put people in your life who will be a mother to you. Could it be your auntie, and she treats you like you her child, and that's your mother? Could it be the lady at the church that you know what, the older lady at the church, she's your mother, because your natural mother does not have those instincts? Could it be that you know what, your uncle is just like your father? He the one taught you how to play football. He the one taught you how to be a man. Could it be, you got to understand, it's that man, that deacon at the church. He the one that want to spend time with you. He the one that want to show you how to play basketball. So many times we're trying to make our parents do something, and God said, I got a kind for you. They may not be your blood, but I got something in the spirit that's right according to the kind that I got for you. I know some people that raise people, and they don't have no blood, but they raise people like people with their children. They raise their niece and their nephew like it was their children. I know some church people raise children as if that they were their parents. So you got to understand, stop getting caught up in your type. Well, I just wish my mom would grow up. I wish my dad. God say they ain't got to grow. I got somebody who gonna treat you right. I got somebody gonna love you, and you ain't got to fuss with them. You ain't got to fight with them. You love your mom and dad and where they at. But God said, I got some people according to the kind that I got for you. And so you got to stop trying to be mad and twist mom and dad arm because they don't want to do right by you, and they don't want to change. They don't want to spend time with you. God said, because where you ladies, where you got the children father don't want to spend time with the child. God said, you get yourself right, because when you get yourself right, guess what? He got a man that's going to find you. He got some men that can't have no children, and they waiting to find you, and they going to love your children. They're going to love your child as if your child is their own, because they can't have none. Come on here. I'm preaching better than y'all talking. You got to begin to understand and get in your God ordained kind, and stop trying to make somebody who don't want to be a father, and get yourself together so God can say, God, send my husband, send my children father, the one who you got gonna raise my son up, the one who gonna raise my daughter up as if they're their own. God, I thank you. When you get at the table, set a table for them and say, God, I thank you for my husband. When you get to lay hands on your bed and say, God, I thank you for my husband. Come on, y'all got to walk by faith and not by sight. This is where believers, we don't go by what we see, but we go by what the word of God say. He said, because it's impossible to please God without faith. And so therefore we got to walk in this thing. Therefore we got to say, God, I'm walking in my God ordained. I'm walking my God ordained relationship. Everything God got for me, that's what I'm walking in. I'm cutting off everything that's toxic. I'm cutting off family members that are toxic. I'm cutting off friends that are toxic. I'm cutting off co-workers, church members. I'm cutting off anybody who's not good for me. I'm going to cut them off. It doesn't mean I don't love them. It just means that I'm not going to give them my time. I'm not going to be pouring into these people. I'm not going to let them pour into my ear, but I got to prepare myself with what God got for me. You got to understand, the closer you get to God, more people start dropping off in your life. Come on here, y'all. The more you start becoming like God, the more you start walking in your God ordained relationship, the more people start disliking you. The more people start talking about you. You know why? Because they got so accustomed when you was in the type. So the moment you start walking in the kind, Them jokers say, they think they better than everybody now. Oh, they forgot where they can. No, I ain't forgot where I came from, but I want better. Oh, that you act like you got to lead the hood. I ain't got like I got to lead the hood, but I just want to lead the hood. And ain't nothing wrong with me because I want to lead the hood. You got to understand, just because you don't want better, but I want better. And sometimes people will want you to want what they want. As long as you didn't want nothing, they were fine with you. The moment you want to go back to school, they got a problem. The moment that you trying to buy a house, you too old to get buy a house. Why you trying to buy a house now? See, now they got a problem with you. The moment now you trying to start your business, now they said, but why you trying to do that? What's wrong with your job? You need to stay at your job. You don't need to open up no business. See, as long as you start wanting to do better, they got a problem with you. And you got to understand, when you start walking in your God-ordained relationship, when you start walking in that position, this is where people start falling off. And you got to have tough skin. This is why you got to overcome that spirit of rejection. Because if you're not over rejection, you're like, oh, I just miss so-and-so. Now, you know that girl that me and you know good. I just miss her because we grew up together. I miss him because we've been friends for 20 years. These folks ain't help you. They ain't did nothing but talk about you. They ain't do nothing but eat your food. They ain't do nothing but sit at your house and laugh. And then now, the moment you want to do better, they start acting funny with you, and you want to tell about you miss them. No, God is going to give you some new people that's going at the place where you going. And so now it's not meant for you to go now. It's meant for you to come up. So when those people decide that they ready to change, guess who they going to find? They going to find you, because they going to say, "Dang, that's your car. Dang, you that's your job. You in that position now. You living in that house now. They're going to see." And this is where you got to get to a place where you understand, when you walking in this God-ordained place, this is where the enemy will try to fight you at, because you're no longer at a place where they used to know you at. See, this is where you got to constantly be growing. And so when you stop growing, see, that's why God say, be fruitful and multiply. When we are not multiplying in love, we're not multiplying in joy, we're not multiplying in peace. It ain't just multiplying with babies. It ain't just multiplying with money. He said, I want you to multiply even in your thinking. He said, I want you to be in good health, and I want your soul to prosper. I want your thoughts to come up. I want you to begin to say, you know what, I'm going to go to counseling. He said, I want you to go to a place, you know, I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to go to a place, I'm going to stop eating this stuff I'm eating, and I'm going to start cutting back. Your mind, your thinking got to change. It's where you say, you know what, I think I'm going to go back to school. I think I'm going to get ready to write me a book. I think I'm going to start my own business. This is where you begin to grow, because you understand the place that you was at, just working that job, you weren't thinking about nothing. People like you like that. People like you broke, busted, and disgusted. Misery loves company. But when you make up your mind that you saying, I don't want to do that no more, I want to elevate, I don't want to do that no more, I want to do better, people want to try to put you down, and you got to know how to be at a place to say, let them talk. Can I tell you, that's the thing God blessed me with, is to say, you know what, let people think what they want to think. They're going to talk about you when you're good, and they're going to talk about you when you're going through. So either way, they're going to talk about you. So guess what? You got to get comfortable letting them talk about you. You got to get at a place to say, you know what, I got to keep moving. You got to get to a place that, you know what, if you don't like me, that's fine, but I'm going to keep moving, because where you don't like me, God got some people who do like me. This way you can't stop just because they feel some kind of way. And let me see why they don't. I can't try to figure out why you don't like me. I can't try to figure out why you got a problem with me. If you ain't said nothing to me, that tell me you want to keep acting the way you acted. So I got to go forward, because guess what? When you are healthy, you want to be in a relationship where people can talk to you like an adult. Hey, you know what? I was upset with you. I was mad at you because I felt like you left me. I felt like you was outgrowing me. Hey, I could work with that person because that person is being honest with me. But when you acting like you can't talk to me, you just mad at me for no reason, you thinking all this stuff in your mind, but you never tried to talk to me. You never tried to get, the Bible say, let us reason together. When you're dealing with mature people, that's when we should be able to talk together. When you can't talk to a person, you jealous and you envious, and you know that person ain't did that to you, but you just feeling the way that you feeling, you got to be honest with yourself and say, it's me. No, it's not nothing that they did. It's really me. There was times I had to have a conversation with myself and say, you know what? That person ain't did nothing to me. It's me being jealous of where they at. It's me being jealous of what they got. And I had to be honest with myself. But when you are no longer being honest with yourself, that devil is going to creep in. And now you being jealous hard. And now you're being envious. Now you making yourself an enemy to a person that has not did anything to you. And that's what we see going on now in our churches. People making people their enemy because they did not want to deal with themselves. You got to deal with your type. You got to deal with the type of person that's it. And say, you know what, I'm just a liar. Oh, I'm a manipulator. Say that to yourself. God, I'm a liar. God, I've been lying. I've been manipulating. I've been telling myself lies. I've been living in the fantasy world, saying that I'm good and I know I'm not good. Saying that I'm going to do this or I will do that, knowing that I ain't trying to do that. See, you got to be honest with yourself, because when you can't have these conversations, guess what? You cannot be delivered. That's one of the things I tell people. We can't take you through no kind of deliverance until you are ready to say, you know what, I got some issues. And if you're not ready to deal with them issues, we can't do nothing for you. We can't do that for you because you still stuck in a place where you lying to yourself. And I'm not going to waste my time with somebody who's not ready to deal with their issues. I'm not going to try to twist your arm. No. I came for people who want to be delivered. And so therefore, if you don't want to be delivered, you don't want to say that you need help. You got to understand you got the wrong person. You know what? I'm going to leave you right where you at, because if you comfortable like that, I've got to move on to the person who's ready for this, the person who's ready for help. And so as I come to a close, and we're going to pick up with part 3 next week, because we got to know the difference, because you got to understand, if we don't ever get to the place and look at what's good and what's bad in these relationships, we're going to keep duplicating the same thing, praying, God, I wish my relationship, God, I ask you to help, bless them, make them treat me right. God, bless them to make them talk to me right. When you got to understand some stuff, these people ain't going to talk to you right because they don't want to change. Some stuff you're going to have to walk away. Some people you're going to just have to break up from and walk away. But because if you don't have that in your mind, you're going to still be thinking God is supposed to do it. And God is not going to do anything a person do not want. So if a person don't want to change, God is not going to make that person change. So while you stand there saying, God, make them love me, God, make them do right by me, God is not going to do it. He'll do it if that person want to do it. But if that person don't want to do it, you are wasting your time and you're wasting years of your life. And so you need to know the difference. And so as I come to a close, you want to make sure that you reevaluate and you look at all your relationships and say, God, who sent them? Did you put this person in my life, or did the enemy send them? God, who put this person in my life? Did I go get them, or did you put them in? You want to know who brought them. Did God bring them, or did you do it? Because if you did it, that's the reason why they're causing you headache. That's the reason why they're giving you problems, because it's a person who you put in your life. And God said, I didn't bring them in your life. You did. And so also, if you're ready for growth, I'm telling you, I'm starting the next mentorship January 2025. You ready for 12 weeks? All I need is 2 hours on a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12. And we're going to hit it in 2 hours. And we finish for 12 weeks. If you ready for next level growth and you ready to do the work, I'm telling you, you're going to have to work if you want to see deliverance. You're going to have to do the homework. You're going to have to be present in class. Yeah, we can. If for those that are absent, we do have a replay, but you're going to have to be an active participant. And so if you want to be a part of this mentorship, look at the flyer that I got pinned up on my page and inbox me and say, Apostle, I'm ready, because we're going to start January 2025, the first Saturday in January on Zoom. And so if you got any questions, please message me. Also, if you have not got my book, What You Don't Know, it's on TikTok Shop and it's on Amazon by Apostle AleciaBiggers. What You Don't Know by AleciaBiggers. This is a book of deliverance. You need to know what's going on the inside of you. You need to be able to know how to recognize spirits. If you don't know how to recognize these things, the devil is going to fool you. You got to understand the devil ain't coming with a pitchfork, but the devil coming with a thought in your mind. The devil coming as a friend. The devil coming as a coworker. The devil coming as somebody who you can trust. So you're going to need discernment. You're going to need some. The Bible said, my children are perishing because they lack the knowledge. You're going to need the knowledge. And this book is going to give you the knowledge that you need to get some deliverance. And so if you didn't get the book, get it on Amazon or get it on TikTok Shop. And also, so as I get ready to come to a close, share this message with somebody else, because guess what? If our relationships are going to be better, it's going to start with one person at a time. When you change, guess what? You can help somebody else, and we can keep helping people, because guess what? I can't do it by myself. We need each other. And so as we get ready to close out, I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Thank you for your feedback. Thank y'all for sharing. I will see you all next week. I love y'all, and be blessed.